welcome to Power Her Success Radio. This is Dr. Anita Jackson. I am so honored and excited to introduce you yet to another expert and colleague of mine as we begin to continue to support you during this time of pandemic transition, this reset, this opportunity to up-level into our next highest level of success for our personal life and for our business. Joining me today is Janet Van Wyck. Am I saying it right, or is it Wyck?
Yeah. No, it's Wyck.
It's Janet Van Wyck, and we're going to be talking about something that I think is so crucial during this time, and that is tapping into your core brand. For those of you who are coaches, who are speakers, who are leaders, who are wanting to really take your business to a whole nother level, particularly during this reset time, so that when we get back to life as normal or our new normal, you are grounded in your core truth to such a degree that you can show up more powerfully, more dynamically. You can speak with an authority that allows you to be attractive and allows you to attract in the kind of clients that you're wanting to make an impact in their lives as well as in their business. So Janet, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to being here with me today as we have this conversation.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And my goodness, I couldn't say it any better than what you just said. You just kind of capsulized the whole interview.
See, I'm good at this stuff. I love it. So Janet, do me a favor and tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how you show up in the world.
That's a good one. I have a lengthy story because I'm not a spring chicken, but it has brought me to where I feel very fulfilled and very powerful in my own self. And because of that, I don't mind sharing the lesser parts or what I used to consider were failures. I am a very creative soul, and I was raised back in the time where, and I love the way Marie Forleo puts this, her mother said everything is figure-outable. I was raised in that generation. You had to figure it out, which meant your parents didn't handhold and show you things. And as such, everything I did, I had to figure out on my own. So they weren't necessarily successes, but being a creative, I would jump on that. Now, I know we've all had our little journeys of trying little businesses here and there and jumping into this and that. And I did much the same thing. At 17, my first one was Avon. Back then, right, everybody ding dong, you know it. But back then there was no leadership and there was no guiding you through it. It was just kind of, here's your little book and you do your thing. But you know what? I found that business was much the same as that going forward. You had your trade or your expertise or your profession that you were expected to study and learn. And then you had the other part of it was, if you're going to go into business, you have to get your market analysis done and you have to do your financials and all of that. But nobody ever really addressed, how do you bring you into the equation and how do you make those proven systems work? So I went through and I've had about 15 different businesses. Some were somewhat successful, some were somewhat not successful, but in my mind they all were, because I learned so much from each and every unsuccessful business.
Absolutely.
But it's recently that it really began to hit home, and that's when retirement age began to loom, and we started to ask the question of what are you going to be doing with your time to be productive and feel of value after you retire. And at that time, the only thing I could think of was, I love the service trade and I treat them with the best regard, but I personally don't want to be greeting it at Walmart or asking if you want fries with it, because it's not something I would do well. I know myself enough to know those are things that I wouldn't do well. So we had to begin to take a look back at what are all of the things that you have done in your past, and what is it that you think you can do going forward that really is going to fill your boots.
Yeah.
And everything I could think of, people kept on coming back and saying, you can't do that because you don't have this. You can't do that because you have to follow this system. You cannot do that. And that doesn't sit well with me. So I took a little side path and I went into network marketing because they do have systems in place.
Yes.
They
Very
have
true.
powerful systems. Each and every one of those companies have good, proven, successful systems. So I learned a lot of them. But the big thing that I did learn was at no point in time did they ever introduce you into that equation, which means 10% of those women do amazing. 90%
Yeah.
fall away, and a certain percentage of them begin to feel like failures because they're working hard. They're doing everything they're told to do, and they're still not reaching the success that they're supposed to reach. And that's the path that I was on, and that's pretty much what my journey was and what catapulted me into the area that I decided to go into.
You know, I really appreciate your story and your sharing the dynamics that you've gone through, because I think it applies to even what's going on right now. And with this whole global pandemic where we're at an opportunity to reset and try to figure out, how do I show up now? How do I actually allow myself to be seen, to be heard, to be validated? How do I allow all of me to be present, so that I can not only live my best life, but I can also make a bigger impact in my family, my community, and the world? And I'm so grateful that you really see that and you've tapped into that and you've gained some wisdom about it. So with that being said, how did you prepare yourself to move past these struggles so that you can be a huge benefit and offer your services and wisdom to entrepreneurs, particularly during this time?
I started working on me first.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. And I did the standard things. I'm not a book reader, but I'm an Audible book fanatic. Because in my brain, I'm a little bit of a squirrel girl. I can't sit down and just read. But if you give me a book to listen to while I have to clean or while I have to drive or whatever, it feeds my soul. So I started listening to the lesser, they're very powerful people, but not so much into branding. Mel Robbins was a big one. She just pulled my book when I first started. And I moved on to Hal Elrod, and I worked my way to Dr. Espinosa.
Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, now you got me saying it wrong.
And I began to really get interested in self-work, law of attraction, and how that played. I'm a very positive soul, and I believe in science, and to have those two things come together for me was amazing. But when I began to do the work that I needed to do on myself through Brené Brown, like I did a lot of work, I started to see that there was a correlation in taking the journey back and the discovery process. And I kind of coined a phrase or a term that I love, and it's the law of self. And it's
say it again.
The law of self.
The law of self. Got it.
Much like the law of attraction, we have a law of self that we have to go through and discover, and
like it.
Pull out the positive and rekindle. I just was listening to I don't have it handy, Sally Hogsworth, and she has a book called How the World Sees You in Fascination. And what she says is that we are innately born with a sense of the ability to fascinate. It's built in because we have to be able to do that in order to protect ourselves. We have to get people to begin to oogle on you and be fascinated. And it's all there. It's naturally there. It's built into our DNA. But it's in people. It's our family dynamics and ancestry and everything that begin to put a veil over it, begin to dampen it down, and it's events where you take a step forward and you step into your light and somebody puts you down, whether it's
you take 2 steps backwards.
You weren't picked for the volleyball team, you stood up to do a speech and they laughed at you, whatever it was. You have a series of different people stamping down your fascination. And so I like to go back and in this law of self, rediscover your strengths, your fascination, take the strengths that aren't really a strength, that side rail you, and set them aside and bring the ones forward and integrate them into your business model. And
let's sit here for a minute, because those of you who know, I'm a psychologist and my brain's processing 1,000,000 miles per hour. And I love this conversation about self-law. I think that's fantastic, or the law of self. I think that's the better way that she said it, the law of self. And that we come designed with this sense of fascination that gets quieted And I say it, and you come with multiple voices, not multiple personalities, but multiple voices, and the way in how you speak your truth, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially, all those different leads that exist inside you. And like you said, totally agree. And I love this idea of there's a fascination. So my first question to you, if you can answer it right now, is how do you define fascination?
Ah,
Sorry, I like to throw people
no,
something like,
no.
ooh, good word.
Your fascination quotient to me is your secret sauce.
Okay.
And your secret sauce to me is everything that makes up your personality and your strengths and your when you're by yourself and you are able to giggle with yourself and that feeling that you get inside, when you interject that into your business model, into what you are bringing to the person that you are trying to attract, that's your fascination. That's when I have to take it one step further. You cannot bring your fascination if the person that you are targeting to attract, you're doing it solely by trying to meet their needs. You have to also identify the person, their fascination, what they're bringing to the table. Do you mesh together? Because I've had so many times where I've done the exercise, your target market, your niche, identify the need, their pain, blah, blah, blah. And I have attracted people that fit perfectly, but I just didn't want to work with them because they didn't match my style, my approach, my strengths, and my fascination. The two of us just didn't meld together. So it's so much more. You have to bring that part of you and build it right into your business in order for you to succeed.
So those of you who don't know, me being a psychologist, and I go both directions. I have a personal, professional psychology background, marriage counseling therapist, and organizational psychology, which is business. And so I'm also a little bit of a wordsmith, and I understand that certain words triggers the way the brain works and the way the body works and the way we have energy move in and through us. So the word fascination is a very powerful word. It's an adverb, it's an adjective. And so fascination itself means the ability to fascinate. And fascinate, it means extreme interest. So what you just said, Janet, is there's something about, I'm listening to everything you're saying and I'm processing through my different filters, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I love these kind of conversations because then it allows me to go, so here's what my brain heard you say.
Okay.
Fascinating. The more I'm interested and fascinating and living in my power as a fascinating person, as a woman, as a speaker, as an author, as all those different roles that I play, there's an energy to it. There's a magnetism to it. You're in a group called Power. There's a power in it that automatically creates a vibrational energy and wave that pulls in the right kind of people. Now, what you said that I think is very distinctive is that not only are you attracting in people who are going to automatically be fascinated with you, but you want to, from a business perspective, attract people who are at your same fascination level. Yes?
Yes.
Did I hear that right?
Yes. Yes.
So the goal is, in order to fascinate someone who's at your same level, you've got to be really grounded in your own power, in your own truth. You've got to know it. It's a difference between, and you see me do this movement, but information, knowledge, wisdom. Wisdom is usually what we talk on a regular basis, and then embodiment. Embodiment has a level of rest to it, has a level of confidence to it, has a level of peace because you've embodied it. It's just your truth. It's like, 4 + 4 is 8. I had to make sure that was right. I'm like, I usually say 2 + 2, and for some reason I said 4 + 4. You know that 4 + 4 is 8 because you've been rehearsing it so much. It is your absolute truth. So this idea of becoming fascinating, I think there's a way I want to say it. There's something in there of giving yourself permission to be a fascinating person, yes, even in the midst of challenges, can be the thing that takes you to your next level. Yes?
Yes.
See,
that is the thing that takes you past doing something well to excelling, and the difference between succeeding and being a success. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to come in at this self. They don't have to be at the level of knowing that they're going to be a success, and they might still have some doubt and stuff like that, but they have to be open, and you can feel it, open to go back and do a little bit of the structure, the back structure work, the discovery. I work on four pillars. You discover, you define, you develop, and you design. And that works in every aspect of everything I do. And it's how I go forward with all of my programs and my coaching. And this works so well. I just spoke with a lady today who she's at that level. She just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to see the bubbling outcome and the realization that, you mean, there's so much more with what I have, with what I am, that and you could see it just beginning to explode. And that's so powerful. It's powerful to see the power beginning to, it's like fireworks. It's like lighting that little sprinkler.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is something very fun when you're working with a client and you start to help. So one of the gifts that I'm assuming you would have this too, because I can see it in the way you talk, that when you're working with a client and you can hear their dream and they haven't fully connected that absolutely possible, and then you get to share the different dynamics or the principles or the strategies. You get to unveil their fascinating power or their truth, and they connect, and they all of a sudden just go, ooh, I can do this, and I start to dream. That's like, oh, the heavens have opened up.
Sleep after that, eh?
Yes, yeah, I experience. I'm actually working with someone like that right now on a really, really big project, and it's fascinating to watch her go, I can't do it. I'm like, yes, you can. And then something happened that solidified and verified that she can. And so when we were talking last night, I'm like, that just made it a reality. And she was like, I know. And I'm like, yes. It was just this glow that comes in someone's face when they really get to. I want to back up a tiny bit because you went through the 4 pillars that you talk about pretty quickly. So would you be willing to maybe give a little snapshot as to each one? Because in order for all of you ladies to really understand the power of what you do, you probably want to work with her so that she can help you go deeper into that to move to your next level. So what are the 4 pillars that you work with when it comes to branding?
The 4 pillars, and it's branding, and it's for also integrating anything into your business basics and your foundations. It's discover, and that would be going back. It depends on the problem, it depends on the subject, but you really have to go back and revisit things that you think you already know. And you have to look at them with a different eye, and you have to look at them with an open mind to accept a different point of view and a different process or direction as a result of them. So you discover, then you define what it is that you're looking at, what the problem is or what your solution is, depending again where you are. So you discover, you define, you develop what you come. Where is this going to take you? What do you want to do with it? And how is it going to roll out? And then you design. You design what that picture is for you going forward with that new element, with that new thing that you've been working on, so that you can, and I'm a big believer in going to the other end of your dream and working backwards. Compare what it is.
Dynamics, yes.
Yeah. What do you need in order to have that? What are the main elements of it? And what on a small scale can you begin to implement now to move towards that? It's so much like the law of attraction, the law of self, the law of business, whatever you want to call it. You have to be able to get into the future situation, not only picture it, but you have to be able to feel it emotionally. You have to be able to taste it and smell it and everything. You have to see it, and all of your senses have to be involved. So in order for you to move forward in any problem, any situation, if you apply the 4 pillars even to your personal life, you have to put yourself emotionally at that place so that you can, both from the law of attraction to you and the law of fascination out, you can make it happen.
Yes. All of us have become, or all of us are in such a beautiful time now to do that discovery, define, and all of a sudden I just went blank again on the last 2. And it reminds me somewhat of what we do. So discovery, define, develop,
and then design.
Develop and then design. And then allowing yourself to say, this is the perfect time to take that step back, to kind of reassess where you are. And then moving forward in a very powerful, I just dynamic kind of way. Okay, so I just lost one of the questions I wanted to ask you. I think actually we just did it. How did you kind of land on this idea of core branding? How did this all come about, and why do you think this is so crucial, particularly now?
Well, it essentially came from my journey with the network marketing companies,
Okay.
that and the leaders that kept on saying to me, "You cannot do it that way."
Yeah,
And
God bless them.
and my reality was, but I can't do it your way. I understand it's proven, but I can't say your scripts. I can't sit down and call the 100 people. I can't follow the model. I understand it's proven to be successful, but I cannot do it that way because it's not me. And when I do it, I come off being authentic. I love getting up in front of people and teaching and training and talking, but even the models that I would have to follow in order to present or do their classes, it didn't follow who I was. So again, I didn't feel as though I was coming off authentic. And if you're not, that means
People feel it. Yeah, absolutely.
People feel it. So I had to, my brain never shuts off. So it just began to pull everything together. And the fact that I find a big focus on the marketing end. Like there is an anatomy to a strategic brand, and it's very defined, it's very specific, but most of the focus and what most people are familiar with is what I call the push, which is the visual expression of the brand experience. And it's the design, it's the colors, it's the the font and all of that, the marketing message, the commercials, all of that. And a lot of brand coaches focus on that. Some of them go back and take a look at the brand strategy and different things like that. But built into all of that is the element of your, what I call core branding. That's bringing you to it, and they don't touch it. They don't touch it the same way I do. And maybe it's because I spent so much time focusing on the law of attraction. Maybe it's because Brené Brown got in my head. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Probably a combination of all of it. But it just said to me, you know what? It's breaking your heart that so many women are following their models. Either it's a business model, a network marketing model, a taught coaching model, and not feeling as though they're getting their money's worth, that they're any kind of success, that it's not really what they thought it was going to be, and it's not them.
I couldn't agree
I found the secret sauce.
So I think and I'm really grateful for you bringing this forward, because that's one of the things that I think, and again, I think this has a lot to do with my background as a psychologist on both sides, psychotherapist and psychologist, is we are trained to focus on, it's not about you looking like me, it's about you tapping back into you and helping you give yourself permission to be that powerful, unlimited woman who knows that she's enough. Basically repeating to you what you already know is absolutely true. That's what the Power Her Success group is all about. I'm not here to make little Anitas. One's enough on this planet, let me just tell you. But I am here to encourage as many women as possible to make that decision, to reach that definite conclusion. I am going to allow myself to show up. I am more than enough, regardless of what my story and my background. Yes, I can have abuse. Yes, I can have depression. Yes, I can have homelessness. Yes, I can have, losing money. I can have all of that. And I'm still queen, and I'm still successful. And I can still have that 7-figure business, and I can still speak on that stage. I can still have a business. I can, it's the and still have. And I love what you're saying, because I think if you understand that it takes the brand of who you are to a whole nother level. Would you agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. We're here for you, ladies. We're trying to make you understand. You can do this. Come on, girls. You got this. And I am a still firm believer that 2020 and this new decade is still about the woman. It's the future is all about the female power. And if we can get back to that truth and redefine it the way you're talking about, and really understand it to the point that the energy and the fascination and the magnetism that pulsates from us is going to come through our power, and it's going to create that unlimited potential for us, and it becomes easy. I think when I realized, it was about 2-3 years ago, I started thinking about it, but I hadn't really embodied it yet, that I am designed, not was, I am designed to be an influencer. And so that meant having a different type of brand and really showing up in a different kind of way. And I started to call in, okay, if this is true, then put me on stages. That was my first limiting understanding of being an influencer. And I did. I got on quite a few stages, big stages at that, and was beginning to connect to some very successful speakers. And even now, beginning to circle around, and they're circling around me. And now we're doing some collaborative stuff because I decided, well, that's where I'm really supposed to be. And the moment you make that decision, your business shifts, your brand goes through a rehaul, you get a lot more clarity. It's starting to feel a lot easier. You start to attract in, like you were saying at the very beginning, a whole new level of clients who are willing to do the work. It's kind of fun.
It really is. And it throws you for a loop when it first happens.
Yes.
Because you go, is this real? The funniest thing that I see, it's not funny, but I get a lot of ladies that say to me, okay, you've helped me discover, because that's the fun part, is when you listen to them talk about who they've been trying to be in the struggle they've had, and you get them talking about what it is that they do and want to do, and that personality comes up.
Yes.
And you begin to identify it for them, and the light goes on, right? And then they go, but I can't change midstream. I'm going to confuse people. People aren't going to believe me. And there are so many different ways that plays out, because first off, you've got people who are actually following you in your path of growth and going,
yes.
He can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
And there's people that are going, I'm not really buying this, but I'll watch for a little while. And then after a while they go, oh, okay, I get it. And then the others are the people who are just coming in, the ones who are first meeting you. They don't know any other you.
That's right.
So it's all so good.
True.
It's all possible. Yeah.
I love the permission of being able to say your journey is your journey, no matter how it goes, up, down, backwards, forwards, good, bad, or ugly. And yes, it can be challenging, and yes, it can be hard. But if you stay true to you, every path always wiggles itself to a perfect path. Like what I mean, it can have its ups and its downs, but it always levels off somewhere in there when you finally get to a place of truth. And then when you get there, I think that's when everything starts to shift even more dynamically. If you can just give yourself, and thank God, being a psychotherapist, and I say that a lot because I think it has taught me so much about allowing things to just be the way they are. They always work themselves out. They always do. I don't care how, and because I have a really strong faith-based believing in God, I'm like, all things work together for my good. I don't care how horrible it is. It has to work out for my highest good. It has no choice. And so it usually levels itself out, and it's better than what I could have even imagined every single time, every single time. So we're coming down to a little bit of a close here. I would love to know, I think you have a free gift for our community.
This came upon me a little bit quickly.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
So I don't actually have a free gift, but I do have a 5-day workshop that's coming up in the next couple of weeks that everybody can lock into, that is based specifically on this concept of developing your power, your fascination, in order to develop your success. It's kind of a sneak peek into a program that I have, but I spiced it out so that I can give it away in a free offer. And I'm excited about it because Beautiful. I know there's a lot of insight and growth that's going to be able to happen right inside the workshop. And it's not one of those long ones. It's not like you come for an hour and I'll talk for 45 minutes about other things. It's half hour, it's short, I respect your time, and I'll give you value for that full time.
Beautiful. So she'll post it in the link in this thread, and then on Self-Promotion Saturday, as you all know, you have an opportunity to promote your free programs, your paid programs, your products, whatever you have on Saturday. I may actually let this Saturday go for a longer length of time because I guess I got into my holiday season a lot earlier and forgot about last Saturday. I'm like, whoops, missed it. Sorry, people. So I may give you guys a longer time to really promote your business and your products and things of that nature. With that being said, it really has been a fascinating conversation with you, Janet. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and really showing up and talking about your story, talking about brand, giving the women an opportunity to rethink how they're allowing themselves to show up and to claim their fascination. What a beautiful, powerful word. I love that. And I really appreciate this conversation with you.
Thank you, Nita. I would like to invite anybody to come and just visit my page. My profile and my business page are both my name. And if you're interested at all in my group, you'll find it listed on both of those sources.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. I hope you're doing exceptionally well. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week. Next week, we have the opportunity to meet with Linda Hollander. Linda Hollander is one of my mentors, and she is the guru and expert when it comes to corporate sponsorship. So if you're really wanting to take your business to the next level and you're wanting to learn how to position yourself in a way that you can attract corporate sponsors, I've been able to do that. I'm continuing to do that even now as we're moving forward for some projects that we've got. This would be a fantastic interview for you to be a part of. With that being said, everybody, have a fantastic Wednesday and rest of the week. God bless. Take care of you. Bye-bye.